You know where it's at. No, go ahead, babe. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Go ahead, babe. No, 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 no. Didn't I tell you to...
Truth seekers. All right, we got a great show tonight. We're going to be talking about what recently surfaced with Lil Nas and how do we're going to tie it into the Monarch butterfly. You have to know what is happening here. We've seen this before. We've seen it years and years with Britney Spears. We've seen it with Martin Lawrence. We've seen it countless of times, this particular incident and things like this, and in some cases in the same place that's going on. So we're going to talk about this Monarch butterfly mind control. You know, if you know anything about that, we're going to discuss that tonight, and we're going to have a call-in show as well. As you know, this is what we're doing now. So hopefully this gets it to be a great conversation for you because it is in the news. Now, some people are going to look at this, okay, wait a minute, this guy's probably having a breakdown, meltdown. But what if it was programming? Someone sent the message or said, okay, we need to activate something for a minute. And we saw it with Kanye West. We've seen it with so many of these people who have talked about this breakdowns and what's happening. And when you think about it, you're thinking about individuals, they carry a lot of pressure on them. They have big audiences, they have big obligations, and probably tons of family and friends pulling at them, and no privacy and all of these things that could stir your mind in a lot of different directions. But when you start thinking about what is happening, and tonight we're going to go into it, the Bodunk programming. We're going to go into it tonight. And so hopefully, this conversation becomes part of our dialogue. Like I said, the call-in lines I'm going to put up here in a minute, but you don't have to call in yet, because I'm going to give a little more conversation into what we're talking about tonight. But once again, it's real, people. This is real, and I'm going to show you tonight how real it gets. And we're talking about Lil Nas. He was filmed wandering around the LA streets just today or last night or just whenever. And some say, okay, he was possibly hospitalized for overdose. But when you start looking at these actions and you start backtracking, like what we're going to do in a few moments, and I'm going to show you some pictures and different things of why this is Monarch programming. I mean, you can't miss it. And how all along he's been telling it, how Britney told it, how all of them been telling that they're a part and been programmed. And I've studied it. I've trained, a lot of you on it. I got the whole blueprint of the Monarch programming, how they do the kittens, the S-slaves, all of these things. And people, it is real. It is right in our faces. Now, how do you recognize it? Well, you're going to see it. You're going to see it all over the internet, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. And so it's part of that conversation and dialogue. I think a lot of people should be willing to talk about and pretty much. And yeah, I mean, Avita, says, hey, maybe it could be a distraction. Absolutely. Everything they do is a distraction. Everything they do is a sideswipe to get us to look over here while they're doing things over there. But when it comes to these handlers, when it becomes to the programmers, they want other programmers and people to know this person is under our handling when it comes down to this. So as we get into this story tonight and pretty much continue down the road, let me give you a few information on a few of the headlines. Well, this is what happened. Lil Nas was filmed displaying erratic behavior on an LA or Los Angeles street around 4 a.m. before arrested, and then he was hospitalized for a reported overdose. This is a classic case of a Hollywood meltdown, and yes, we can honestly say that's what it is. But where do we tie it into Monarch programming? Well, this is not just something that was made up. He's been showing that he's part of that with these butterflies right here on the shirt for quite some time. And it's just not this. It's been a lot of his work that he's shown, and other stars. We'll show a few of them tonight where you can get understanding that. But it all happened August 21st around 4 a.m., which was this morning, so this is hot off the press. He was spotted wandering down, I think it was Ventura Boulevard. Yeah, so he was spotted wandering down Ventura Boulevard, and thanks to our friends over there, the Citizen Village, and and the village and the citizen, he and they said onlooker stated that he acted erratically, and he was seen dancing and catwalking in the street while uttering seemingly random sentences such as "Don't be late for the party tonight," and that's all he kept saying. Now, once again, these are things that, all right, we ask ourselves what is going on, and some people may think maybe it was drugs or whatever. I guarantee you, when they do a toxicology report, it's not drugs. They're not gonna find any. They're gonna, like, wait a minute, it wasn't an overdose. It wasn't, because they have to think about it, because it was erratic behavior. But when you start going back to history, you will know that this is not something, pretty much. But once again, it's not nothing new, because at the time when all this went down, they said that the police officers found, him, the rapper, allegedly charged that before being subdued and handcuffed. And that's upon arrival, the police said that the suspect charged the officers and was taken into custody. He was transported to the local hospital for possible overdose and placed under arrest for battery of a police officer. So, all right, he's going to pay that price. But he was also hospitalized back in April. So this is not the first time this has happened. When they said half of his face was paralyzed. Remember, Justin Bieber suffered the same similar ailments in recent years. So this is not nothing new. While an overdose could explain his behavior, but a closer look at the videos might tell you another story. So I'm going to give you a few of these clips, and let me play the full clip first for you. And then you can kind of make a determination yourself of what's really happening from here. Let me play the full clip first.
Hey, don't be late to the party tonight.
Where at?
You know where it's at. Nah, go ahead, babe. Nah. Go ahead, babe. Nah. Didn't I tell you to put the phone down? Uh-oh, somebody's gonna have to pay for that. Da. Hey, for everybody coming to the party. La. Yes, I am serving you. Yes, get my good side. Every side. Yes. Boom, cat towel. Sean Bankhead taught me that one. Bow! Bang! Bow! Woo! Bow! Batty boy, want you to give it to me, baby? Batty boy, want you to give it to me, baby? That's gonna be a beautiful sunrise. Give me that phone so I can throw it. I want to throw it far away so you never see it again. I don't like phones.
All right, so right. I mean, think about it. The guy ain't broke, so it's not like that. But look at it. I mean, it wasn't the quintessential drugged out thing. I mean, okay, he was acting erratic, right? He had erratic behavior. That's top of the list. But once again, when you start going back to a lot of these things, this is every bit of Monarch programming. And I know you might be like, Roderick, what are you talking about? So first, if you go, here's one of his pictures. This one he did. This is, you see the Illuminati train. I think it was an album cover, Go On Your Own Way or whatever. The butterfly symbols is sitting there, and if you've been around here long enough, the deal when it comes down to the Monarch butterfly. You should know that by now if you've been here. And usually the signals, and they will place them on their bodies. And Jennison Hudson, right here, she's done plenty of things indicating the Monarch butterfly. In fact, here's her TV series. Look in the background of the screen. This picture, I'm sorry, but look in the background, Monarch butterfly, So you may tend to say, okay, Roderick, they just love butterflies. Man, look at the signs closer. Now, if you didn't know anything about why it's called the Monarch butterfly or the Monarch mind control program. That is the name. You've seen it in the Godzilla movies, the same thing, the butterfly, genetics, DNA. That's what it's all about. That's the signal. That's what they do when they do this. But when they get around 26 to 30 or 30 years old is when it begins to break down, because the mind can begin to fight back. It has the power to fight the programming. That's when you saw Britney shave her head. That's when you seen Kanye West. That's when you seen all of these people that are under this begin the process. But they tell you all the time. Britney posted a post on Instagram right here that she told everybody, you know, the one eye symbol, number one, and then number two, the butterfly. And sometimes they do try to send messages to the people to let them know that they've been programmed, and they start to figure it out themselves. And it happens all the time. So it's not something that you don't know, but once again, this is where it is. So the Monarch butterfly, years ago, scientists, you know, a lot of different people in countries started collecting butterflies. So, you know, just like some countries, they'll say, hey, can you send us some specimens? And what they did was they sent specimens all across the world to these different places. But when these caterpillars born, they started losing the butterflies. They didn't know what was going on. And then they start finding out that these butterflies were shoring up back to their original origin, not like a bird that was flying north for the winter or south or for the spring or one or the other. They were going back to their point of origin in different places, and they couldn't figure it out until they figured out it was DNA based. Somehow genetics passed down to the babies to where they lived. And so when the parents gave it to the offspring, they was able to go back. That's when the Illuminati's, that's when all of these, the CIA, all of these started using the Monarch program to do DNA-based, you know, MK Ultra experiments and all of this. So that's when it came out. But one of the triggers that have is the people who are under this, the kittens, the S kittens, the S slaves, and you can start looking at it. You'll look at the butterfly. And of course, he had a little more combination of stuff that when it goes down. But I'm saying to you, this is what happens out here, right? And so, you know, this is not just a fluke. Once again, and when you think about this, though, this story goes a little deeper. Remember, the first obvious fact in this video that you saw was that Lil Nas was rather articulate. He wasn't, that's why I said he wasn't high. He was balanced. He was in control of his movements, you know, and so that's, I'm like, no, dude, that wasn't no highness. That definitely was not. He even performed a catwalk. He even complete with moves that require some control. I mean, watch the video. He wasn't, you know, again, he wasn't staggering around or he could not, you know, control his body functions. That definitely wasn't the deal, you know. And so let me see if I have another clip.
It's gonna be a beautiful sunrise. Give me that phone so I can throw it. I want to throw it far away so you never see it again. I don't like phones. Don't miss the party tonight. Why are you still here? You need to be telling everybody about the party, girl. What's your problem? Break it down, break it down, break it down.
And like I said, he wasn't, you know, and when I showed a full video, like I said, he was doing a catwalk. He wasn't doing anything that he wouldn't do. Pretty much. Somebody said they gave him that Diddy juice. Well, well, you know, like I said, it's pretty much, and I'll play the clip again. But if you go back and let history serve itself, the Monarch butterfly is, they all tell you, Beyonce, there you go. She's over in the left corner. You have, you know, just about all these stars, man. And they're not doing, this is not fashion. It's fashion in sort of a way, but they definitely show you what time it is. Britney was putting the messages out there all along from the butterflies, and a lot of her stuff that depicted the Monarch butterfly. Here's one of these scenes that Lil Nas did. Look at that, the butterfly behind him, the wings and all of this. And so these messages have been sent for quite some time. Yes, public humiliation is one of the initiation triggers. You're 100%, Shalina. That is what they do. They program it. They send the triggers whenever, if you're not behaving properly, if you're not whatever, boom, they pick up the phone, and all of a sudden you got some, yeah, the party could be a code for rituals. You guys are on it tonight. That's what I'm talking about. So we can talk about it tonight. The phone lines are right here, and they are open. So if you want to chime in on your opinion tonight on whatever's going on, is this, and if you want to chime in, is this meltdown relating to Monarch mind control? You know, state, you know, you might think it's something else, but you know, either way, you know, let's call in tonight and hop on the call, and the lines are open, and let me know your thoughts, because once again, like I said, I'll show the full video again in a minute if you want to see it. It's a minute long, but there's a part in there where he was doing catwalks, he was doing you know, movements and all of this, and that wasn't from a drunken person, that wasn't from a person that was at a, you know, superly high. He knew what he was saying. He was articulate in his words. He were speaking. He didn't have no grammar problems like I did, or do from time to time. And you know, so I'm just saying we have to begin to recognize the symbolism to know that these things exist, and they really do. You know, that's the bottom line. I mean, these things exist, and pretty much. So I'm gonna play the clip one more time, and we'll play it again since we got a few more people jumping in here. And let me just play it again, the full clip, and you all tell me. And then if you want to call into the show tonight, go ahead and call in, and we can see a few things as we go down here. So I'm gonna play the clip a little bit again.
Hey,
What
don't
up?
be late to the party tonight.
Where at?
You know where it's at. No, go ahead, babe. No. Go ahead, babe. No. Didn't I tell you to put the phone down? Uh-oh, somebody's gonna have to pay for that. Da. Hey, for everybody coming to the party. La. Yes, I am serving you. Yes, get my good side. Every side. Yes. Boom, cat towel. Sean Bankhead taught me that one.
People, I'm telling you, he was balanced. That was balance. I'm not joking. That was balance. You know what I'm saying? He was articulated. He was in control of his movements. You know, and again, if I had a later play, he did the catwalk. He was doing what he's thinking. But think about it. Can this behavior be explained by something else? And so let's get into the Hollywood meltdown. I want to talk about that a little bit. And like I say, the phone lines are open. As you know, this is our new theme, is a live call-in show with the audience, with you getting involved. And I know some of y'all got some of y'all want to add to this. I know you do. I know you have something. You have something, and don't be just talking to yourself. Call in, because sometimes you may not have nobody else to talk to. But I know y'all understand the programming and what's happening. I know I'm not on a limb by myself. Listen, in 1996, if you remember, Martin Lawrence on that same street back in, I know some of y'all might have been too young for that. Some of y'all may not even been old enough, but he was acting erratically at the time. He had a pistol, Martin Lawrence did, and he was in the middle of the intersection, and he was screaming something. And you know what he said? They trying to kill me. That, go look it up yourself. Google it. Can't make this stuff up. You may not remember, but Martin Lawrence back in 1996, the same boulevard, the same street, had a breakdown, same place, and you know, yeah. Well, Ryan talking about, let's be real for the jump. I agree with you. I'm not saying that you a nut basket don't go. But what I'm saying is, so Lawrence at the time, he was hospitalized, right? As you remember, he was hospitalized, and with public relations citing exhaustion, dehydration, and the reason for that, you know. And so the strange fact was, it was the same reason that they said with Kanye West, was the same thing, and forcibly hospitalized in 2016. He was never the same since, people. He was never the same since. And so, you know, you have to think about this thing and really think about it. And then in 2007, Britney Spears, you know, she had her publicized meltdown. During it, she roamed the Los Angeles streets, shaved her head, attacked the car using an umbrella. Watch my video, you know, that I'm gonna put up in a minute about that and say that. And I said that Kanye West, he was never the same after he had his meltdown. He never was. Mars, yeah. So you know, there you go. And so some of these people said that there's a lot of similarities between Britney Spears and Lil Nas. First, they were controlled by the music industry, number one, and their entire careers are replicate with symbolism of monarch control. And so when you think about it, you know, and you want to put some of it, you know, a little bit side by side, you know, right here, you know, this is another Lil Nas, and on the left side is Britney Spears when she was doing, you know, she posted that herself. She actually posted that on her account. She posted, you know, the Instagram account with the Monarch symbolism, a promotional picture on Lil Nas on the right, which is also replicate of the Monarch symbolizing. You know, MK Ultra slaves are often depicted with the butterfly wings on their back, you know, and so, you know, Megan, what was her name? The Transformer girl. I forget her name, the beautiful chick. Yeah, if y'all remember her, but yeah, she showed and said the same thing. You know, they all start coming out and saying, you know, this is what it is. But in recent years, people close to Spears stated that her high-level industry creeps are trafficking, you know, and we don't know what is going on. And so this is also just bizarre claims that, but, you know, there was a time that, Lil Nas did this creepy photo ad of like an escort service, but that was just one of those things. But the other point of that, yes, putting black men in dresses look like current rap. Yeah, Megan Fox, Kenyatta, thank you. But yeah, low key, they doing this on purpose and pretty much. And so again, the fact that it seems, all I would say that this would explain when you start thinking of him being in a show mode, because remember he did a thing that he put together. I think I got a picture of it right here. Here it is. Yeah. So he posted this not long back, recent Instagram post that looked like an escort ad, right? And then of course, he starts saying it when he was walking, you get what I'm saying? And so it was just like he was depicting, a little bit everything. And like you said, now you're talking 4 a.m. So whatever party they was doing is coming up tonight because that was last night or this morning. So whatever that party is or this weekend is going down, maybe tomorrow, probably, right? Friday night, it's going down. And so I think it's something that, but could this Hollywood meltdown, and like I said, has explained, or a lot of celebrities have went to the same thing and pretty much from there. And I think that when you start thinking about kittens, the altar being triggered, which causes nudity, it causes dancing, it causes acting like a stripper. It's the same playbook. When that kitten altar, and you got to remember, when they program people, they have altars and they split the mind is what they do. So they're able to take the mind and split it into all these different altars. And they can shift between those altars, either by some type of code word or some type of visualization, or something triggers it, and the handlers are able to do it. But just like someone else mentioned, when you get into a point of going into another part of the initiation, you have to go through public humiliation. And I don't know about this one is big enough, but whatever it was, that was a trigger that happened. But like I said, it wasn't like a trigger of, okay, he was on some, and if you get the hospital reports, I guarantee there's no drugs. There was no drugs, because they found that, they would have put that out there instantly, right? But they didn't. They just, he was arrested for erratic behavior. All right. And at this point, there you go. So I don't know what your comments and things that you want to put together, but if you have something you want to share, call into the show and let's work this as a community, and let's have that conversation, because at the end of the day, it's one of those things, and pretty much. And like I say, I know at least one of y'all have something you might want to add to the program, and you just got to kind of look at it from there. But back, like I was saying earlier, if you go back and you look at some of the stars, Jennison Hudson, when now all of a sudden she now has a talk show, and she does a great job, that's not saying, but when they do make their sacrifices, or they are part of the program, it begins to happen just such as that, no point blank. They begin to let people know that this is a controlled environment and everything else. And like I said, I suggest that you go look it up. I suggest that you do your homework, because if you decide to understand it, then they're able to create what they call an undetectable mind control person. They're able to do that, and they do it by many ways that they can do it. In fact, there are a few things in here. Of course, they start in a younger age. There's things that they, there's a lot of stuff in here I won't be able to say here on the air, but other than that, you just got to know if you start looking at it. But do your research, and when you start finding the monarch butterfly, you start finding all that, you will then begin the process and see. So am I the only one who or thinking in this way, or pretty much? And so again, who's going to call in and add your 2 cents to the fray, or whatever you want to talk about. Tonight we can have open lines to whatever you want. But the other point of that is you seeing the patterns? Do you see the patterns? Have you seen the patterns? Because that's always important. Because there's the Wizard of Oz. There's, we talked about those training. We talked about what's the other one? Fantasia, all of these different ones that are out there. And again, it's part of the rituals, man. And when you see it and it, now the other part of that, who triggered it? That's the main thing. Who triggered those, or him, or to have to go through it? That'll be something I would want to know. Who did the triggering, and pretty much went from there. So I don't know. I just think that, when you see some of these stars, and we don't talk about this a lot, it's not something that I will want to continue to put out here, because I made a vow as we get ready to go down the path of symbolism, and as we're going to continue down that path, that, okay, let's look at this thing totally different. But when you start thinking about the stuff in our faces, in our children's faces, then you have to know it, man. You got to know it, because if you don't know it, then you're going to subject your kids to it, and the kids are going to get programmed, and then they're going to be open for somebody to walk up, and they're already pre-programmed, and somebody's going to say something to them to trigger them, joining them, hey, come with me, here's, or whatever the words that they use is ridiculous, but that's what it is. Who let the man wander off into, yeah. All right. So Dr. Strange, you're now on the sheet. So why don't you call in and give us your word, since I know I can count on my guy, adding some commentary to it. So I'll wait for him to call in, and, he's part of the inner team, but you get what I'm saying. I think it's things that we have to at least know, man, this exists. This really exists. And you got to be careful. You got to be careful of what you watch. You got to be careful of what you hear, because one thing you got to understand, that the rituals and sounds and frequencies don't need your permission. Frequencies don't need your permission to tap into your subconscious or collective unconscious archetypes. It don't need to do that. And you may already have those things and triggers and stuff inside, and you don't even know it, but they don't need to. All they got to do is activate the program. It just depends on how often or how strong you have been programmed. And so I think that's enough that a lot of people don't know, that it goes down. But I'm saying to you that it's important that you begin to grow your minds, right? This is one of the main freaking reasons why I elected to start going more into symbolism for start next week, because symbolism is your protection, number one. Symbolism also get you a better understanding of this world. Symbolism will get you to know what is happening, because if you knew symbolism, you will see all of the icons that they use and that they stamp on their properties and all of that stuff right in plain sight. It's kind of like the movie Blade. If y'all remember the movie Blade, there was a scene where Blade, they did what they call the familiars, right? And then the familiars, they will stamp them, so to speak, right? And they would know who property they were. So they can do this in plain sight. And it's kind of like not just a joke, but they laugh. They laugh in the dark. They definitely laugh when they talk about it. So I think it's something when you think about, making it replicate the behavior while on drugs will be a good cover. Absolutely. Absolutely. Camp Fry Queen. Yeah. Because that's what they do. They try to make it look like something else, but it's not. And like I say, you can clearly see in the video, the dude was not under the influence of drugs. He just wasn't. It may have been his personality, but when you create the mind slave, then you can get it to do unbeknownst to itself, or have certain type of reactions, or act a certain way. And so that's not something that pretty much. And so Bink says, Miley Cyrus, let me put it on the screen here. It says that there was a time that Miley Cyrus seemed to fall in line behavior. Her and her Lil Nas were close friends. I honestly struggle listening to her whole new album. Sometimes it seems different. There you go. I mean, the fact that you're able to understand that, because it is going to turn different, because your mind is going to be open in a certain way that they're not going to suspect that you're figuring this out. The tunes, the frequency. I have a new book on symbolisms and colors, and man, this is so powerful. It is so powerful, from the colors that they use to all of these different things, that it takes you into a whole nother direction when it goes there. And I think it's something that, you might just want to really truly look at and say to yourself, okay, what is really happening here? When it comes down to it. So I think it's worth noting when it comes down to this, but make no mistake about it. Like I said, I don't like to pass newsworthy stuff like this, because it's not really newsworthy. But the only reason it came up and it came out and I wanted to make a point was because of the fact of the MK Ultra. That's why I'm having a conversation about it, is the MK Ultra. So I think it's something pretty much from there. And and so I don't know. Once again, it's, if you go back and you look at some of the other people, like, stars and everything else, it's just not something that's not uncommon. And it's worth noting that when you start thinking about it, you have to know. Now, I'm not a fan. I don't listen to his music. I don't watch. In fact, I don't even watch a lot of rap music. None of the stuff, really. None of the music industry that, especially when they want to show you that their Illuminati, it has controlled hip hop. I don't even get into it, and pretty much. But they definitely are able to tap into your subconscious through the music, the themes, and everything else in there. So how many of you saw this today? How many of you saw this prior to coming to the show tonight, that this went down last night? And the fact that, okay, it may not be the news, it may not be something worth chatting about, but at the end of the day, how many have seen it? How many of you seen what we're talking about here recently, and seen it before? There's the question I would ask. How many of you seen this before? All right. And pretty much. So, and I get it, but I know some of you probably just hearing about it tonight, but have you seen a repeat of this? And you would think, yeah, that's a lot of pressure. Yeah, it's a lot of pressure for some of them, their lives. And a lot of people would trade their left foot to be in a place of some of these people, but is it worth it though? Is it worth it? We've seen a video of the rapper girl that, was crying that she signed a contract, and in the contract, the verbal contract said, blah, 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 and so I think it's things that, you want to look at and you want to see what is happening, but there you go. And so I think at the end of the day, it's where somebody tell me what kind of drugs was he on. I don't think he was on any. I really don't think he was on it. I think it was an alter shift. Once again, when they split your mind, they can put all these different characters and alters that they can put within your mind. And they can put 5, 6, 7 of them. And they can switch you to them easily, with code words or situations or things. And pretty much they can switch it on and off. And somebody switched it on. I think it's pretty much. Mike said just now hearing about it. Yeah. So they can switch this on and off whenever they get ready. And pretty much. Anyway, the phone lines right there is open at the bottom. 440-586-4647. And when you call in, you're still, even while you're on hold, you'll still be able to hear the show. So you're not going to miss anything. And pretty much. But I do think that, if you think about it, it'll be something to look at. And so again, who's out there who has an opinion or a thought or seen it before, or may wonder, or even have a question to look at it. So again, and so Judith, we're talking about Lil Nas and the MK Ultra, the mind control thing. I'll play a video again. I'll play the full video. For some of you, if you hadn't seen it, it's about a minute, so check it out right about now. I'll play the full video.
Hey,
What
don't
up?
be late to the party tonight.
Where at?
You know where it's at. No, go ahead, babe. No. Go ahead, babe. No. Didn't I tell you to put the phone down? Uh-oh, somebody's gonna have to pay for that. Da, da, da. Da, da, da. Hey, for everybody coming to the party. La, la, la. Yes, I am serving you. Yes, get my good side. Ha, ha, ha. Every side. Ha. Boom, boom. Yes. Ha. Boom, cat, tow. Ha. Ha. Pa. Two. Ooh. Sean Bankhead taught me that one. Bow. Bang. Bow. Woo. Bow. Batty boy, want you to give it to me, baby? Batty boy, want you to give it to me, baby? It's gonna be a beautiful sunrise. Give me that phone so I can throw it. I want to throw it far away so you never see it again. I don't like phones.
Now, the question is, whoever is holding the camera was supposed to be on his side. Y'all know that, right? He knew who was holding the camera. And you don't think that he said, hey, man, release this video to TMZ out of all people. He knew who was holding the camera. Y'all get what I'm saying, right? This is how you got to be careful of who's around you. He knew this person, and almost sound like he knew the person intimately. You get what I'm saying? Because he was saying, hey, don't put the camera down. Go on, babe. Let me do what I'm doing. So that was personal. That wasn't paparazzi. That wasn't no damn paparazzi. That wasn't no cameras catching him slipping and getting into his business. That was a personal individual following him in a car, taping the situation, and release the content for some chochos. You better believe they did. You better believe whoever it is picked up the phone and said, I got something you need to see. Because this was right in the front. Yeah, he did say girl was the guy's voice. So obviously, and this just happened last night. Y'all get what I'm saying? This ain't time for nobody to have no argument between 4 a.m. and this got released today. It happened at 4 a.m. today, but in the morning. So y'all get what I'm saying, right? This is not people that there's a problem. This is why when you know people have handlers, when you know they have insiders and they have tapped into your immediate circle, they're paying off your friends, they're got people watching you and all this, because that was a trusted person. And he didn't care. He didn't think about it. He like, I should take your phone. He didn't have no clue that this was going to get released. Oh, he's woke today, though. Tonight, oh, his ass is woke. He's checking whoever that is today. Everybody around him. The agent is checking the dude. The damn public relations person is checking him. The label is checking him. Or unless they all had something to do with it, because it's public humiliation when it comes down to initiation. But that was a setup. Maybe, I don't know. So obviously somebody triggered him and then he taped it. People, that's a setup. It's all of a setup. I'm not making this up. It's a setup. It wasn't nobody else on the street. It was 4 o'clock in the morning. There wasn't no cars driving by. He walking down the street. Everybody in LA was asleep or whatever. No, you don't think that was a random person? No, he knew the person. Ghost, he knew the person. Ghost, he said, hey, I should have took your phone. He said, move on, drive up, because he didn't want to be filmed. He was just walking. And he's like, hey, it's going to be a perfect sunrise, because that's when you knew he wasn't on drugs, so to speak. He was under mind control. You get what I'm saying? He catwalk. He was doing the moves. He didn't fall, you know? So yeah, he was doing his ritual and it was interrupted. You 100%. Y'all seeing what I'm talking about? And so you got to think about how the Illuminati and all these people act in Hollywood and in the rap industry, how they get you under control, how they do this. And basically all they got to do is call him the next day and say, hey, we need you to do this. And he says, no, I'm not. Now, if you don't do what we tell you to do, you know what you just did last night? And you're like, yeah, I don't even remember that. Well, of course you don't. Of course you don't. Do you know that we're going to trigger you to do something else crazy if we wanted you to? And nothing he could do. There's nothing he can do about it. Nothing he can do, allegedly, Judith says. I'm just saying he's shown it a long time ago, and pretty much, but I know for a fact that whoever that was, and like I said, here, you know, he's taking several pictures in front of this pole. So obviously it's his house somewhere, but right there on the sleeve, every bit of the butterfly, right there on the chest, every bit of the butterfly. It's in the clothing. You know, here's another scene or wherever he's on some event. The butterfly is right there in his chest. If you see it kind of etched the symbol in the clothing, and then he got wings right there. That's every bit of the signal. A cover an album right here. Illuminati right there. Triangle, butterfly right there. So it's not like he had never been telling anybody. You know, Britney Spears, Jennifer Hudson, she got the Monarch butterfly right behind her. So it's not like they don't know. You know, and it's all I'm saying. And so I'm saying this for you all so that you understand the fact that a lot of this stuff goes on, you know, when you talk about it. That's all. But anyway, phone lines are open tonight. Let me put it back on the screen. And I just wanted to you know, talk about this a little bit, you know, and if you guys want to have a conversation, then we can go right on down to it. But like I said, at the end of the day, he knew who it was. And I think he said it right here again. I think this is a short clip.
Go ahead, babe. Nah, 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 nah. Didn't I tell you to put the phone down? Uh-oh, somebody's gonna have to pay for that. Da, da, da. Da, da, da.
So he knew that person right there. He said, go ahead, babe. And it was a guy voice. Go ahead, babe. Didn't I tell you to put the phone down? He said, oh, somebody's gonna have to pay for that tonight. You being naughty. You're gonna pay. No, somebody just got paid tonight or today. I think he misunderstood. Somebody just got paid. I'm telling you, it's an insider job. Now, unless that person shared the video with somebody else and then somebody else went on and put it out there, but there you go. So how does someone escape the Monarch program at MK Ultra if they are under it? It's very hard, Binks. It's very hard. And it's just very hard. I know where you're coming from, right? It's very hard because once it's in there. Now, when you get older, when you're 30 years and plus, you're able to fight back. The mind is strong enough to fight back. So that's around late 20s to 30 years old. This is when they use the term, for some of them, they take them off the freedom train. And you guys can figure out what that means on your own, do your own research. However, they have handlers, you see it all the time. You see it all the time. And people experience it. The problem is our children who all have been watching Disney and Fantasias and all of these Disney movies, Lion King, all of them been programmed. They're just not around a person who knows the trigger words, right? But they had already embedded it. We all probably got hit some kind of way as a youth. So they're able to do it. She said they have to change their vibration and stay away from low vibrational people. No, not for the programming. This thing is way in the unconscious collective, way deep. It's an altar. It's fragment altars now. They don't fragment it. It's like, some people say split personalities, if you want to use that word. So it has nothing to do with vibrational people. It has nothing to do. Once the programming is there. It's like my computer. The programming is in there, right? And you tap the right code, it's gonna pop up. And so she said, yeah, I had a doctor use trigger words on me, and I did exactly what he's doing in the video. Okay, I didn't want to. I knew your situation. I didn't want to put it out, but since you said it, that's fine. But I knew what you was asking when you came. But yeah, yeah, if you like to call in and feel comfortable, we don't do no ridicule or nothing here. This is a safe place, and the mods will protect anybody writing anything crazy. I got some mods, some killer mods that will do their jobs, and in fact, I need about 5 more mods, especially when we start doing these call-ins more often and it begins to grow. And so I need 5 more people to be mods, okay? And I want y'all to be as hard-nosed when it comes down to this, when people are speaking, calling in, because we want this show to be where anybody is comfortable to call in, share whatever they want, and get something off their chest, and don't feel like, looking into the chat, somebody's going to be going at them. I mean, people can express themselves, that's fine, but not a deliberate attack. We're not going to have that. So if you looking to become a mod, especially like some of you members, like Rooted, Mars, RN, Sean, I'm just going to list that. I'm going to make y'all some mods. You know what I'm saying? So I just need to get a list. I don't know if Maya's in here. Maya, write down some of the people that want to be mods, usernames, and then I need to go backtrack and see what we can do. If you can, let me know if you're doing that. But again, Binks, if you feel like calling in, the numbers right there on the screen, and pretty much. But like I said, that whoever got that video 4:00 in the morning, this news broke this afternoon, so it didn't take long for this video to be shown somewhere else, and it had to be shown by the person who filmed it. The person who filmed it had to pass it to someone else, and it got all the way to TMZ. It got to TMZ, and it wasn't nobody else on the street. Like I said, there wasn't no paparazzi. So I know it may not be worth, the news say that he got arrested. Yeah, later on, somebody called in on him. You know what I'm saying? Somebody called in on him, at this point. But that video that we're looking at is recorded by a trusted person. Plain and simple. And pretty much. So again, we're 2 days away from our meet and greet Saturday. Man, I cannot wait. We're gonna be inside. We're gonna be there all day, chilling, talking, having a great time. I'm hoping to live stream some of it Saturday. Since we indoors, I can bring my laptop, hook it up, hook a camera up, and have a mic that we can pass around. People can talk, y'all can hear them or whatever. We're gonna see. I'm gonna try to make it work. But we got people flying in, we got people driving from out of town, and we're just gonna have a good old freaking time. We're gonna have a great time, just talking and getting to know each other and sharing some stuff, and eventually talk some deep symbolism. It's the gathering, people. It's the gathering, and so I think it's pretty much that. You have to look at coming. You got to look at coming. You got to look at coming. We're going to be once a month. You got to come. September, you got to come. Yeah. And so I think I just can't wait. 2 days. 2 days. Yeah, 2 days. And, I'm going to have some custom little shirts there, and man, we're going to have a bunch of, we're going to have a bunch of these, copper, luminous, I have them at the event. So it'd be copper, luminous, man. So, what I'm saying? And the other one's gonna say truth is our weapon. I got some of those. We're just gonna have a great time, man. I can't wait. In fact, we get, tomorrow's Friday, so we're gonna chill out a little bit, and I don't know. So, all right, I was hoping once again that one of y'all would decide to call in tonight, and pretty much, and but you know what? I was a little discouraged the other day about the call-ins, and something beautiful happened. I got a couple of voice messages from a couple of people out of the country saying, "Hey, don't give up on the call-ins." People were typing on the comment in the video saying, "Hey, keep it going." And again, it's not an interest for a lot of people. As you noticed the last few days, when we do these, a lot of people don't show up for it, or pretty much, and some people don't want to hear what you got to say. Some people don't care what other people are going through. Some people don't want to, and then some people don't want to share, and pretty much, and I get it, pretty much, but I something in my mind tells me over time, we get 10 people, then 20, then 30, then 40 people used to call it, and then all of a sudden we got regulars. We pretty much, y'all get what I'm saying. And so it is something that, but I hang in there. I got frustrated once already, and I'm not going to do that again. I was like, hey, shit, I'm finna go. Which we're going to leave at the top of the hour too. Because the nature of this conversation was to talk about the Monarch butterfly mind control. Now, but if you want to call and just talk about any topic, any questions that you have, then we can do that for a moment too. So I'll switch it up a little bit, and you can call on any topic right there. So, you want to discuss any topic or comment or any questions, then you're welcome to call the number, and I'll, we'll hang around for another 15 or 20 minutes in doing that. But yeah. I think it's it's all cool, when you think about it. This world is strange, people. This world is freaking strange. There are strange people, strange things, strange situations, and stranger things happening every day. So wake up to the fact that this world is strange. Also, but you also wake up to the fact that, like I've said it before, that maybe we don't need to know some of this stuff. There could be a possibility that we don't need to know some of this crap, right? Shoes, Shanti says she liked the call-in thing. I'm telling y'all, it's hard. It's hard, you know, because I used to ask for cash apps, right? I stopped doing that because that was hard. Imagine they'll be like, "Hey, somebody call the show," but I'm capable of holding my own. But it does change the dynamics of the conversation because when I pose things for a call-in, you pose it to trigger the calls. When I'm just giving you content, that's it. Next week we'll do symbolism. I'll start doing some charts and things and showing you some real stuff. So that'll be another form and fashion that we're heading to. And then this will be probably our last Thursday lives because we will now be back live in the Patreon now that I have a whole new slew of content that we're going to be doing, you know, symbolism and then future guests. But, you know, I'll do some trainings and stuff that we're going to do starting Thursday. So all you Patreon members that's been waiting this last month, while I took a hiatus a little bit, about, you know, you're going to be so enthused pretty soon. So, you know, we're going to dedicate a lot of live streams off censored that we have to because now it's time to really get down with the content. It really, you know, that will really get down with the content. We're really going to be doing that. So I'm prepared for it. I can't wait to enjoy the knowledge, you know, from teaching you or sharing with you things that you just don't know every day. That's right in plain sight that it just people goes unnoticed, right? Hint, hint. So I cannot wait. Rashad, man, where you been, dude? He missed the last meetup, and the dude right there in town, and then he missed the and you know we meet up again Saturday in the indoors. You know, my homie. You know what I'm saying? And I was looking for you. I was like, "Where my guy? Where my guy? He didn't even show up." You know, and so yeah, it's live right now. If that answered your question, it's super live right now. But anyway, yeah. So if you guys don't know, Saturday, man, I can't wait. We're going to have a great time. But yeah, I think that yeah, symbolism is the key, y'all. It's the key. It's going to be the key to the ghost of our people calling. Now, don't worry about a ghost. You know what I'm saying? It's no big deal. They ain't got to call in. Well, we ain't had to worry about it. It's no biggie, you know, because then people call in for the wrong reason. They'll be calling, you know, are you okay, Roderick? Are you okay? I just wanted to call in to see how you doing. And then I'll be like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. But yeah. So yeah. So Rashad said, are we live? We live. So yeah, man. So Saturday, we're gonna be getting together Saturday, brother. And so we're gonna be a lot of good doing a few things and pretty much. But you know, I think it's I don't know, man. I really enjoy you know, having our detailed conversations. And as you know, I lost some more of these. I'll give y'all an update next week. Feeling great. And so a lot of energy, you know, from juicing and all of that stuff. Now my doctor did tell me, but you better not trying to go all 30 days. He was like, you know, they did take me off the blood pressure stuff. So I'm been off of that and pretty much. All right, so we have a call on the Luminous line. And so let's go here in. All right, so who do we got from California in the house tonight?
This is Nico.
What's going on?
Just got off work, catching the end of your.
All right, Nico, what's going on?
Busy. Yes.
Hey.
Well, you know, I wanted to kind of touch bases with you on Dr. David Jacobs and Carla Turner. A while back, maybe about 10 years ago, I was looking into the alien abduction scenarios, what's going on.
Okay.
I had visited Sedona, Arizona. There's a lot of light and love, and even went into one of the meditation settings where there was a teacher, Ariel, there. There was a walk-in. So she said a Pleiadian walk-in. And it did seem like they were pushing a lot of, like I mentioned, just happy, good feel, aliens are here to save us. And I did that probably many, many years ago. I want to say 15 years ago. And I had my own experiences, which I'm not really ready to share, but it did seem like there's some trust that they want to earn from you.
Mm-hmm.
And looking further into the scenarios, especially with Carla Turner. What do you know of Carla Turner? How much do you know of her?
I don't.
Carla Turner.
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
She was an alien UFO researcher
Mm-hmm.
back in the 90s. And she worked with another gal, Barbara Bartholomew. And they spoke to different abductees, and they would do hypnosis and find out what was going on with the memories. Because after an abduction situation, the memories would be wiped out or they're a little hazy. And I know that what would seem exciting, new, adventurous for the abductees would turn into something just horrific, scary, and they would not know the purpose of what would be going on with the abduction scenarios. A lot of people would say, well, they're trying to give messages of, you know, what the future holds, but they have the power to basically wipe out our pollution, give us 0 point energy, and they never do. They always just tell us what we need to do, but they're never part of the solution. And a lot of fear would come from these abductees. In one case with Carla Turner, when she was interviewing a gal, I'm trying to recollect the best I can, so bear with me. The gal was in front of alien graves, and they were just staring at her. And she was praying to God, how great God was. And this is just one scenario. And they were, you know, also filling her with love and light and happiness. They could manipulate her feelings. And then she just woke up in her bed. And Carla Turner had her revisit that scenario and what happened after, why, you know, before you woke up in bed. And then she said that she started getting really scared and she started praying to God. And she was praying and praying, and and nothing was happening. She was still there. She couldn't get out of that scenario that basically was bringing her great terror. So they manipulated her with paralysis. And she goes, then she remembers being tapped on the head, and she went out and she woke up with a feeling that she prayed, but God didn't save her. She still had to go through this scenario. And in what I've been researching, there is a power in God in praying to Jesus, right? With great faith. This can hinder that, but there's also been abductees that have prayed and they've still went through with abduction, right?
Yeah,
nothing happened, and I don't know why.
I've heard of that before. Where I mean, continue, but where I've talked to people where, let's say they having things going on in their sleep or whatever, and I'm not saying that the power doesn't work, but you know they'll go, you know, in the name of Jesus, blah 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 blah, and I've even heard people or say that the deities, some of them laugh. They leave out of respect. They'll be like, all right, since you just don't want me here, you know, or whatever. But it's something about a lot of this stuff that, you know, but anyway, continue if that was relevant enough.
No, so she just, you know, Carla Turner did various masquerade of angels with some of the abductees that mentioned that they had been experiencing since the childhood. Some would have spiritual powers. You know, basically a lot of these abductees, when they were young, they would become spiritualists, tarot card readers. You know, they'd have their own call-ins, spirit healers. And what one of the abductees found is that it wasn't actually his power, but it was the alien or alien spirit behind him, because once he started distancing himself from the abduction syndrome and not trusting the aliens, because a lot of times they would give prophecy, but a lot of it, some of it would be true, a lot of it wouldn't come true. And so he said once he distanced himself from these aliens, he lost his powers. And the power wasn't really coming from him, but it was coming, all throughout his spirit healings. He always felt something to like his right side behind him.
Okay.
That was manipulating him. So I thought that was really interesting. And she does mention that these aliens can be deceptive. So you could, if they want you to believe that it's not an alien, they can come as someone a family member, an aunt or uncle, your grandmother, right? And they say, I don't trust you. For instance, there's another girl where the aliens were trying to have the EX with her. And she said, I've only done that with my husband, and he's been dead for 10 years. So it was like, okay, that alien left and came back, or what came back was her dead husband that had been dead for 10 years. And just, there's a lot of manipulation of our physical world. And what the research I looked into, other researchers, the names aren't coming to me, but individuals like David Jacobs, Carla Turner, even more recently David Grush, just saying these, multi-dimensional, so they're here, but they're just in a different type of reality. And when you do get to see these aliens in their reality, it's almost like a dulled reality. When they come into our reality, it's dulled. They're alive, but they're lifeless. Like they're, a lot of the aliens could be clones or just wearing like a bodysuit, like they have a physical being. The spirit is in it, but their original origin is from the spirit realm or another realm or the other dimension, whatever that is. It's not our physical 3D dimension, right? So that's just some things to think about.
Well, you make
if any other people in the audience. Yeah.
I said this before, Nico, that I always thought there was some type of ruse or fugazi when it came down to this, because every alien that have ever came here and abducted somebody, no matter who it was, they all told that human that they were God or they were the creator. Right? It's like a rumor out in the cosmos. Those earthlings don't know no better. And if you want them to obey you, tell them that you're a God. Because you got to remember, back in the ancient days, anything that, that they looked up in the stars and sun and stuff that they couldn't touch, they felt that was God, that was heavens. And when anything came from there, the whole assumption was it must be a God. And when these creatures and different things came from above, people started bowing and worshiping them, giving them sacrifices and all this stuff. Then just like any other rumor, I think the word got out to, hey, when you go to that place, they're going to think you're a God and they're going to treat you like a God. And so having said that, then the manipulation of the mind begins, and it makes sense. But for them to be able to tap into your mind, to pull out images and things of someone that you trust to know your mind, is the most scary part of it. Now, we think it's scary.
That is very scary. That is great power.
Yeah.
Oh,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. Well, the individual that was one of the abductees, his name was Ted Wright. And he was a spiritualist that, grew up in this environment. What's interesting about Carla Turner is when she started speaking in the late 90s at UFO conferences, within a time period, she became the product of abduction. and she was just a researcher. And she was, I believe she was a doctor. She had her doctorate. She was a doctor. I don't think it was in anything. It might have been in some academic or college professor. But she was coming close to the truth. I believe that soon after she died of cancer, like a fast form of cancer within 3 months. They kind of took her out of the picture. And then her protege, who was her teacher, Barbara Bartholomew, she actually died in a car crash. So they kind of wiped that period of UFO researchers away.
Right.
So that's pretty scary in itself, because not only can, if they can manipulate our reality to a certain degree, but put us on a bad course, you know, and you got to think, wow. The way I get around it is, if there's something like that that's working against us, there's got to be something good that's working with us.
Oh yeah. You're gonna have duality. Yeah, you're gonna have duality. You're gonna have but you also got to think about, we all are infinite consciousness awareness. We're all a one consciousness. You know what I'm saying? And so that probably won't be difficult for them to tap into everyone. You know, if we are all a one, we just don't know how to do it. Yeah.
Well, that's another thing I was looking at, or I saw, is that these alien grays, they have such psychic power because of the hive mind. So they all kind of,
right.
I guess they all work in unison, because they're telepathy. So when they get to a hive mind where they each know what to do, what's going on, they can focus the telepathic powers, 50, 100 times stronger than whatever we have or what we're used to working. So it makes them exponentially stronger to lift objects, levitation, go through doors. So that's part of their spirituality, maybe on top of the technology. But UFO researchers also say, like, the craft that phases in and out of reality, it can't stay in our reality very long, because its vibration, it needs to lower its vibration so much. And I guess things could fall apart in the spacecraft's own created reality. It can't hold that for very long. I mean, maybe it could be like, 24 hours, but that's why they're not here for, like, some of them. If they're multidimensional, they're not here for years. I don't know if underground, or, the inner earth, this type of thing, we could be talking about, right? A lot of different
things. I think the thing,
alien grave.
Yeah, one of the things you want to point out or note, they're not on the same time. Time really doesn't exist. That's why they live for thousands of years, right? They're able to. It's just we were genetically modified to expire, and so, and then when you think about us being this one infinite consciousness, because the ancients were able to heal, like you were saying, they would get around and within, the conscious, they was able to heal stuff. They said that is probably how some of the ancient pyramid bricks and stuff was moved, because they was doing a collective hive mind, conscious concentration. And so they was able to move things and heal people or do whatever with the power of the mind, right? And so I think there's a lot of scenarios out there that you want to, when we think about it, it's just us as a people where we don't really are able to tap into that. And once again, that's why,
that is so true, Roger, because they have us divided in our mindset.
Absolutely.
You have a different theory, I have a different theory, you're spiritual. So we can't come to, because if we all have the same idea and we all have the attention, like, we got to do this, we have a goal, right? First it's 2 people, then 5 people, but then 5,000 people have the same goal. That goal is going to get done in the physical world, but sometimes when you want something so bad to happen, that intention could work. There's certain people have done experiments in that. When they get enough people together, it pushes further to the probability of that specific intention that they wanted. But yeah, they have us so divided and on the hamster wheel, right? Working and tired and watching TV and what game is on. At any given point, we're just in different directions.
Well, I mean, that is the game plan, is to keep up. But let me give a shout out to Lizzie Lou, says hi, Roderick, and Jada Moon said, hey, Roderick, hello to both of you. But yeah, I think it's evident that the mind is the key. This is why when I formed Truth versus Authority, in the interim, it was authority. Was it people or people in high places? But as I grew, it was the mind. The mind is the authority. This is what they really are after. This is why they spend so much of things within symbolism, ancient symbols, in sacred geometry, in all this. They know that was all there before spoken words, and so that is how when you get down to the four consciousness, from consciousness to pre-conscious to subconscious to the collective unconscious, and then collective unconscious. And the only way to access that collective unconscious is through symbols and symbolism. It's deep rooted archetypes, and so I think people don't realize that the struggles. But it also sends me into a whole nother direction of my thoughts. It's like, if you remember the movie Matrix.
Oh yeah.
Okay, you remember the scene that Cypher, when he became working for the agents, and then he said that he wanted to go back, and he was like, just send me back.
He wanted to take the blue pill.
He's like, I want to go back and eat a steak. I don't care. I want to go back, because the truth is ugly. The real truth is ugly. The food is nasty. We eating the same crap. What's the purpose of being awake? Right? In so many words. So he was like, they're going to send me back. They're going to erase my mind. I'm going to live a good life. And I think that when I think about that too, I think that should be an option that people need to have before watching channels and following, because once you see it, you can't unsee it, and your world shifts.
Right.
And it may not be, you might just have a pleasant life. Yeah.
You have to have some type of experience usually to delve into this type of subject. It's not something. I remember years ago too, when I was hanging out at my buddy's house, and there was 4 of us. It was myself. One of my friends was heavy in real estate, very successful. Another friend was in the military. Another friend was LAPD officer. And the friend that was successful in real estate, he was doing really well. He got drunk. We started talking about the reptilians, rulers of the world. These are the people that are in charge. And I had been friends with this guy since, middle school. And he was just going off. And we talked about certain things. And when he started going off, his girlfriend was looking at me like, you know how he is. And I'm like, yeah, he's jumping on this topic today, huh? And then our buddy that was in the LAPD walked over and he goes, what are you talking about? What the heck is, what is going on? And he goes, what is this nonsense you're talking about, reptilians? And he goes, and he looks at me, he goes, you believe in this? And I said, it could be true. We don't know. We don't have all the answers. We haven't been here forever. And he goes, you're a weirdo just like him. And he just kind of brushes it off. And, that's kind of how it operates. It's just, you could be open to it because you experienced something. You saw something, or maybe your mind is like searching for answers. Or you're in the blue pill, right? And you're doing well at work and you just don't really have a reason to ask those type of questions.
Well, yeah, I think that's one of the things that you have to look into and pretty much. And but yeah, man, I appreciate you calling in tonight. And you got the number anytime. Like I said, we're gonna move toward more symbolism and stuff. I just been preparing, material and different things, because I think it's, it'll change our audience a little bit, but it's going to benefit us down the road, a lot. So,
Okay.
so we would do
Sounds
that.
good. All right. Take care, Roger.
All right. Appreciate it calling. All right.
Thank you, sir.
All right. So yeah, y'all, there was a few things there that he was saying that you just got to point out. And I've said it before, when you start thinking about these extraterrestrials getting into our minds, or whoever it is, right? Or maybe it's ourselves, playing different characters, or, all those things. And so I think it's important, once you see that it can go a whole different route when it does that, pretty much. But, once again, Saturday, I hope to see some of you Saturday who's going to be here Saturday. We won't be here tomorrow. We'll be back Monday. We will start down our road to Symbolism, start next week. And I'm just really excited for that, and pretty much. And, with that being said, we've been here over an hour or so we're going to get out of here for tonight. And thank for our caller who called in. And I won't give up on the call in stuff, but it depends on how to change, the way we promote it with the thumbnails and different things, because obviously, that some people don't want to hear that. They want to learn. And so uh-oh. All right. So there it is. And there's an alert. There's alert. That's that was the electric company saying, Roderick, get off the live. We're going to turn it off because you don't get any more contributions. Anyway, it's joking, y'all. We're good. That's my phone that's hooked up to the call line and stuff. So I'm gonna end the call-in line and all of that. But yeah, so I think it's pretty much, it was an alert, right? Amber alert. Yeah. So but anyway, man, I really think it's good. So again, starting Thursday nights, we will go back into our uncensored lives, offline. And so those of you who do have a member to the Patreon, and those who, need to renew it or whatever, should it be worth it to you? There it is on the screen. Get the all access pass. That'll get you access to everything that we're going to be doing, lives and up post and everything else. So I had to kind of revamp a few things that we're going to be doing, and pretty much. So yeah, we're going to be doing that. And again, yeah, I love you guys. I really do. I love you guys. I'm doing good energy wise, doing what I'm doing, and moving around a lot better, hitting that treadmill, walking really good, and, got a lot of clarity, from this juicing. Like I said, I did go to the doctor. They did, take off the BP pills off. Now I only have one med. I had 4 back 3 months now, and just one little one for cholesterol. And after that, totally off. A1C1 is 5.9 or something. So 2 more little notches. They did call me, and and so hang on a second. So anyway, so I did get a phone call from the doctor's office and stuff, and the lady, I guess she didn't know. She says, we just want to tell you that you need to watch what you eat. And I said, why? She said, because you're now, pre-diabetic. And I said, really? She said, yeah, so, you don't want to go all the way. And I bust out laughing. She's like, well, that's not funny. And I said, what do you mean it's not funny? And then I said, well, look at my record. She said, oh, wait a minute. It's reversing. You're going the other way. And I was like, yeah. So, like I say, A1C1 is 5.9. And so 5.7 is regular. Anything over 6.4, you're going into diabetic. So I'm, so I don't take any more meds and all that. So it's good. It's everything is working really good, and knees are feeling better because some of this weight is off the knees, right? And so now, you just there's a lot of things I want to do, a lot of things we're going to do, and pretty much. But I have to go into I hope y'all go on a journey of symbolism with me and what we're going to be doing. It'll change our audience a little bit, but we have to. The world that I see, the things that I'm connected to and know, and all of these things, it's a strange world, man. It is a real strange world, and we got to be prepared and they are violating, and I'm using the word, they're violating our unconscious. They're tapping into stuff without our permission, and you got to understand it, see it, and then for the best part is use the power for yourself. That's where I'm going to be teaching from. I'm not just going to show you, you know, this is that or this particular stuff. I want to tell you, put this, embed this into your life. Embed this symbolistic ritual. And ritual is not a bad word. Ritual could be what you do every morning when you wake up and drink coffee at 6 to 5:30 in the morning, and then pat your feet together 16 times. That could be your ritual. You know, some people have a ritual before they go to work in the morning, whatever. But the word ritual is your conditioning of the mind and what you're going to be doing. And I think that when you start learning that, and pretty much, so the first training we'll probably do Monday, you know, we'll talk about the square, and then of course other things, the, you know, archetypes and all of this, and you're going to learn a lot. You know, I've been studying this for quite some time, and now I can't get out of it. I can't stop thinking about it. I can't, you know, and of course, you know, me doing the brand, the Symbolizer and all that stuff. So it's going to be that thing. And like I said, I hope you are, you know, I encourage you to go on the journey, and I encourage the people that fall off the journey, you know, the trip, get them right. But it's not about that anymore. It's about those of us who understand that this world is strange. It is a strange world. You got to understand that there's, you know, special apparitions and demonic and spirits, and there's good ones too. There's good deities, I would assume. There's different layers, there's different dimensions. We're just in one. There's something that's standing around all of us now, watching us and laughing and whatever, and know that we can't see them. They could be right here in the face until we tap into and be like, okay, dude, not now, you know. But we sense it. We sense those things. We have our spirits in all those stuff, and so I think it's pretty much, you know. Thank you all for cheering me on and everything. Like I said, it is a hard journey. You know, I had started lifting little weights, and then I gained 2 pounds, and I was like, what? My head was spinning. I'm like, what are you doing? And then I didn't realize that muscle way more than fat. So I have been getting a little stronger. So I'm like, all right, you're getting some muscle, bro. Getting a little muscle, bro. You know, so, you know, it's all a learning process, and pretty much, so we can do that. All right, so with that being said, I'll see you all Monday. And those of you, I cannot wait for Saturday. We're gonna have a great day. We're really gonna have a great time. And like I said, I'll try to make sure I live stream it, and then we're able to be there and see, and pretty much. But anyway, I love you, and y'all make sure you stay strong. Give yourself a hug, and give you a hug. For those of you, only thing missing is you. So there's your hug. And then to my fellas, it's your daps, and y'all just keep it real and do what we got to do. Good night.
I am the devil.